Hello and welcome everyone. So in this video what we'll be doing is covering another topic, gameplay cues. And if you remember from my first video, I said gameplay cues are used to represent the visuals or the cosmetics of the gameplay abilities and gameplay effects. So we'll be looking at two examples of gameplay cues, and we'll also run into some problems regarding replication of these gameplay cues, and we'll see how we can address those. Okay. So for starting, what I want to do is go to my ability tone space, and for this ability what I want to do is just create a particle effect once the teleportation has completed. So the way you do this is create a new blueprint class of the type gameplay cue, and I'll be using this gameplay cue static, and there's also another one called actor. So we'll look at the actor class in the next example, but for now I will be using the static. Just to differentiate, the static one is used for one-off burst effects like it says in the tooltip, and the actor one is more like a persistent kind of effect that you want to activate for some duration and then deactivate after that. So this is a one-off burst effect once the teleportation has completed. So I'll be using this static one, and we'll call this gc underscore tone space effect. Okay, open this up. And now what you want to do is just override this function on execute. We also have this on active and on remove, but they are generally not used for one-off effects. You use execute for that. So just override this and just connect this. For some reason this is not connected by default. And over here what I want to do is say spawn emitter at location. Okay. And I also want to point out, if you are using the new Niagara systems, you want to use this spawn system at location, also on spawn system attached. Okay. And I am going to use my teleport enter. Okay. I'm using this old one because the Gideon has not been updated to use Niagara. Maybe in UE5 we'll have this. And over here I want to do is just break a gameplay cue parameters and use this location over here. Okay, and I think this is it. And now what I want to do is I'll actually call this class inside of my gameplay abilities, and to call this what you want to do is use tags. You cannot directly use this class inside of your gameplay abilities, rather you have to address them by these tags. So you have to create this tag over here. And I also want to point out that in my previous series I said that you did not need to use this gameplay cue tag. This was an oversight on my part, so just remember to begin your tags with this gameplay cue keyword, then you can have your own hierarchy afterwards. So I'm going to call this gameplay cue dot ability dot tone space dot cue effect. Okay, so we're going to open up our GA class, gameplay ability class, and right after we have this move to location, I'm going to search for execute gameplay cue with params on owner. Now you can use the other one if you see this one if you are not using these parameters, but I am using these parameters inside of my gameplay cue class. So I'll be using this one. I am going to use the same tag cue effect that I have used over here. And for the parameters, what I'm going to do is say make gameplay cue parameters. And for the location, what I want to do is just say get owning actor from actor info and say actor location, sorry, actor location, this one. Okay. And I'm going to collapse this. So I think this is it. Let's test it out. So if we press play and I activate my tone space ability, okay, it's firing the effect. And let's test it again. Okay, I also want you to note that this gameplay cue effect is being replicated by default. If you don't want to replicate this for some reason, you'll have to manually handle them locally, and they need to be done in C++, and I'll be adding those functions and commenting them because generally you want your gameplay cues to be replicated. So this is working. And now let's look at another example about triggering your gameplay cues from your gameplay effect classes. So going back to our abilities folder and inside of Dark Tether, if you remember, we did not have any kind of effect for this ability. So I'll be creating a new effect for this ability, rather a gameplay cue for this ability. So just go to your blueprint class and search for gameplay cue. And this time I'll be using this notify actor. So the reason is that I want my character to be on fire for the duration of this slow effect, and once this effect is removed, I want the fire to be removed. So this is more like a precision effect, so I'll be using this notify actor. I'm going to name the gc underscore dark tether effect. Okay, open this up. Now this is more like a regular actor blueprint, and I want a particle system for this. Then just to create this, so going to our starter content, in particles we have this fire. I'm going to just duplicate this and call this fire blue. Okay, open this up. Now this is the old cascade one, so just bear with me. So I'll add this color over life just to differentiate it from the other kind of fire. So this is going to be distribution constant, and constant is going to be this one, like so. And let's make it a bit emissive and control drag it like so. Now this would have been much easier than Niagara, but let's wait until they upgrade this. So this is already selected in my content browser. Over here I can just say particle, and this is going to automatically add this fire blue. Okay, and similarly we have these two functions over here on active and on remove. Now since this is a persistent effect, we are going to use this active and remove. And just to visualize and debug this, I'm going to just simply say print and say Q active. Okay, and similarly on my remove, I am going to add a print string and say Q removed. Okay, now you can do some fancy stuff over here if you wanted to, like for on remove you can spawn another kind of particles before this actor is destroyed and that kind of stuff. And similarly on active you can also spawn some first time particles that spawn, then you have this fire effect and then they close. Now compile and save this. Now similarly we also have to add our gameplay cue tags to this. So I'll be going to this, and it's going to be same gameplay cue dot ability dot dark tether dot cue effect. Okay, and I also want this to be auto attached to owner, so the fire attached to the target that has been applied this effect. And I also want this auto destroy and remove. Okay, so compile and save this. Now I am going to use this effect inside of my gameplay effect class rather than my GA class. Okay, so once this effect is applied to some character, he is going to be on fire and he is going to be slowed down. Okay, so if you open as this G class, you have this gameplay cues under the display section. So I'm going to add my gameplay cue for this, and this is going to be referenced by its tag, and that is dark tether cue effect. Okay, so compile and save this, and now we're going to be presented with a problem once we test this. So let's press play. So if I apply my dark tether to him, this character is on fire, this replicated and all, but you see that the cue removed string is called only on client 2 instead of client 1 also, but the cue active is called on both client 1 and client 2 if you look at our logs over here. So this is a bit of problem with our application because our gameplay effects are not being replicated in our current configuration inside of our C++. So for that, what I want to do is just go back to your C++ inside of gas character. Now I know in the last video that's going with the last video for C++, but yeah, I just discovered this now, so bear with me. Open up this gas character. Okay, so once your Visual Studio has loaded, and I want you to navigate to your gas character CPP file. Okay, this one. And over here what you'll see, we have this inside of constructor, we have this set replication mode to minimal. I just want you to change this to mixed, so this will automatically make your gameplay effects to be replicated over the network. And if you still want to use your minimal for network optimization or for some other reason, you'll have to handle your gameplay cues locally when they are triggered by effects, or you can just create a dummy ability that applies the effect and then that dies. Okay, so just change this to mixed instead of minimal and go to build and select build solution. So once this is done compiling, we'll return to the video. Okay, so our compilation has completed, and going back to our engine, we'll see we also still have the same problem, well, partially resolved problem. So if I apply this effect on him, now what you should see is that the effect removed is called on both the actors, but the effect is still not removed. Now this is because if you go to our dark Tether, we have set the period to like 7 and the duration is also 7. So I could change this to 0 because this is not a periodic effect, but that would not trigger this where is it, inside of our character class. We are using this event to trigger and slow down our character, so we need to have this value other than 0. So a workaround for this would be to just change it to something greater than 7, like 10. Okay, so compile and save this and test it out. So if we apply this effect now, and after 7 seconds the effect is automatically removed. Okay, so just bear in mind that this is necessary for the non-periodic effect that have duration to trigger this event. And if you do not want to use this kind of technique for some reason, you'll have to revert to this old implementation of your attribute value change delegate, and this would trigger twice on the server and once on the client. So also be mindful of this fact. So yeah, I think this is it for this video, and I'll just add a few more videos that go over bug fixing and some advanced topics. So this is it for this video. Thank you very much.